Okay. Right. Let's do this, Myro. Another day. Another paintingu. Let's get the chief rowing. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Sip sip. Painting goo goo goo. It's painting faking goo. Where will we go? Painting goo. It's painting goo. Where will we go? Painting me, painting you. Glorious. Painting goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. That's it, you petrified primate, you. Remind these mortals what beauty is. Painting goo. It's painting goo. Where will we go? Where we go? What we go? It's up to you. Painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Yes. Let's do it, Myro. Remind these onerous dogs the meaning of beauty. Painting goo. 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 Painting goo. Sip sip. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting faking goo. Where will we go? It's painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Painting goo. Sip sip ooh. Painting goo. Goo 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 goo. Painting goo. Goo 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 goo. I have a coffee on my mustachio. That's it, Myro. You marvelous monkey, you. Bring it home. Do it for the people. Painting goo. It's painting goo. Oh, it's so beautiful. I will correct my tears in Garros's bucket. If he doesn't start doing his job. Look at this shit. Look at it. Yes, yes, yes. Pay the monkey. Put a tip in the monkey's bowl, because I don't pay the fucker. Welcome to Paintingu, and witness this shitu. Stabberu, from the umpteenth time, has done your job for you, Garros. You pathetic, bucketed feline, you. This is a betrayer of the highest order. You are supposed to like and subscribe to Paintingu because Garros, the 865-pound Bengal formerly addicted to cocaine tigeroo, is supposed to remind you to like and subscribe to Paintingu. Does he? No! Stabaroo does it! And that fucker kills himself 3 times a day! Committing seppuku at the slightest infraction. My days upon the earth realm are increasingly vexing. Excuse me, whilst I descend into proper paintingu posture. Glorious. My top knotto is now fully on display, and the stool was smoother this day. Nobody likes a stiff stool. Right! Today, we have a new paintingu. So you know what that means. We must engage the where we go, what we go tunage. I love this one. Something about taiko drums. Something about banging a huge drum. It's like slapping an ass. Satisfying. Maxed out Burrow. Grifu. Stablu. Only 3 of you have any honor this day. All you other foreign dogs. Your ancestors look upon you with great shame. I place my royal rag upon my demi-divine knee in preparation for the goo. Give me a number in the chat between 0 and 224. Do it! Do it now! We have no honor! And we will find out where we go, and then we will find out what we go. Oh. Fucking Mabu. Find your balance, white one. I must hoard it. This is how I know this is definitely a poor map of the realm. It cannot even stand on its own. Observe. Tilted. Disgusting. Poorly thought of. Obviously created by a retarded person. Potato! Word map. Indeed. We say word map. However, it is simply a figment, I believe, of some asshole's imagination. Indeed, context. Indeed, potato. Enough! Give me a number! Ah, Griffo. 7! Right. We set sail for another paintingu! Ha! Paintingu. Agila. Let me guess. It's in Africa. Number 7. Paintingu. 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 It's paintingu. One would think, having previously visited many of these places, I would remember where they are. It's paintingu. God damn it. 7. Show yourself. Hope is blossoming within my breast and my mind. For it would appear that Angira is not in Africa. Thank fuck. Where is Angira? Chat! You are no herp. Saying help in Japu sounds too much like herpes. What kind of herp are you? You, sir, you are no help to paintingu. I don't want to be a herp to paintingu. I don't blame you. Fuck, where's 7? What do they speak in 7? English! They speak English in Angira. Watch, it is in Africa and I just haven't seen it yet. 6 is in Africa. That's not a good sign. That's indeed a terrible sign. Where are we? No, the chat's being a fuck. Right. Garros, engage your X-ray vision capabilities. Remove your bucket and sunglasses. And show me. I don't know why I'm asking Garros. The bear is supposed to be the cartographer. Boris! Give me a hand, you Russian fuck! I mean, a paw. Paintingu, paintingu. I'm just happy it's not in Africa. Hereditary. Don't make me do it, chat. Don't make me ask the iPhone where the price is. Get up off your ass and put it in the chat. Where is Angira? Caribbean! Excellent! That's... this way. My top motto is oppressing the headphones. What the... where is the Caribbean? That's all Asian shit. I thought the Caribbean was over here. Angira, show yourself. Ah, I found it. Is it so tiny? Aha, Angira. Number 7. They speak at English. What do they say in Angira? Twat! An unpleasant individual. I love the way every place has its own fucking... oh god, I love this. Right. Apparently, twat is the common insult in Anguilla. There's a lot of pirates calling each other twats. Right. Okay, it's new. So we're off to Anguilla. We know where we're going. Now we must find out what we are going. Okie dokie. Where's my magic cowboy hattu? Okie dokie. Just east of Puerto Rico. Underneath Florida. The chat eventually became helpful. You were not quick enough. You lack discipline and speed. Excuse me while I flex my fan skewers. It's a bit hot in here. I am literally burning. Because I am literally on fire. And I haven't even started painting yet. Right. First snatchu from the magic hattu. What are we doing in Anguilla? 有把色搞得有气。The snatch must be clean. Snatch! Oh! So clean. So clean, I snatched 2 of them. Interesting. Perhaps the hat is trying to tell me something. Agree! Just imagine if you're a really insecure person and you pull that out of a hat that you put random shit in. What are we painting today? Agree. Something ugly. In Anguilla. What was that in? What was the Disney's Three Musketeers with Oliver Pratu and Charlie Shinu. What was that other fucker? What's that? Is he Irish? It's like McDonald something. I can't remember. And then the lad who played the bishop. Oh, what's that fucker's name? He did Long John Silver as well. What's it? Tim something? Oh, I can't remember his fucking name. How dare you insult my typing skills? I am as fast as a dirty Irish drunkard on St. Paddy's Day. It's pretty quick. Hiya! Right. Snatch! Number 2! Painting goo! Snatch! Oh, green as fuck. Painting goo. Oh god, I fuck myself so hard with this hat. A question! I don't know how you have an ugly question. Just some fat ugly bitch asking you what, like... Do you come here often? No! You ugly question bitch. Oh god. Ugly question. What even is that, like? Okay. Snatch number 3. Painting goo. It's painting goo. Red specking goo. Oh god. What are you painting? An ugly question. What the fuck? That's such a disarming answer, like, what are you painting today? An ugly question. Did you just describe my question as ugly? Oh, fuck. Right. Give the magic hatto a quick shuffle. Third and finer snatch. Must relax the shoulders. Snatch! Ooh. Collateral damage. Right. Shit. That can't be right. Please tell me I meant to write sheep. It looks like it says shear. Oh, fucking hell. Where do you even begin with that? Like, ugly question. Sheer. A sheer ugly question. In Anguilla. We can't forget where it is. Oh, that's hilarious. What the fuck am I painting? Okay. Ugly sheer question. The first thing that popped into my head was a pair of shears. Well, actually, the first thing that popped in my head was, please let it be sheep. But it's not. It's not sheep. Ugh. Oh, glorious. Okay. Okie dokie. Where's the tunes? We'll let it finish, of course. Painting. Go, 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 go. Paint. Yes, crap for painting goo. Crap for painting goo, indeed. Crap for the taiko drummers too. You know, I don't pay them either. Nobody gets paid. Except me. I am the demigod here. On this stream, on this canvas, I am demigod. Right, engage, tunage. Ah, glorious. What the fuck? Anguilla. Right, I'm a googering Anguilla. We have an ugly question. Sheer. Ugly question deserves finer solution. Oh, Griff. Is Big Mike truly a man? Oh, I'm sure we'll find out sooner or later. Right, Anguilla! We're off to Anguilla. In the Caribbean. Very typical, very Caribbean. Painting goo 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 goo, painting goo 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 goo. Paint! Right, Anguilla, reveal to me your secrets. Painting goo goo goo. Typical, tropical, very beautiful, white sandy beaches, palm trees. Fucking palm trees, bunch of cheesy trees. We did get a preview of the answer on Ellen DeGenerate. Did you? Like, was she showing? Was it showing? Painting goo goo goo. British colony. Painting goo 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 goo. Okay, let me type in Anguilla ugly. Images. There's a picture of Jesus. Laughing his head off. That's fucking hilarious. That's so funny. Like, I got like an insanely beautiful mountain range. Like, what the fuck? Okay. Historic places? Okay. Some old churches. Not much to play with there. They have some ruins. Painting goo. Okay. This one's a tough one. Well, that's kind of cool looking. Okay. I know this is a bit of a stretch, but a shipwreck, like, arguably is like an ugly thing. Personally, I think they're awesome looking, but like, you could argue that a shipwreck, like an old rusted up, you know, ship on a beach, juxtaposed with the beautiful scenery. I mean, like, you know, you have like the palm trees and the crystal clear water and the white sandy beach, and then you've like this really ugly shipwreck. But then we need a question and something sheer. I mean, that's easily solved with, like, I could just do a cliff nearby or something, you know? I mean, I could stretch it even further and be like, well, there's sheer edges on the shipwreck. No, I'm not going to do that. Not on PEINTEINGU. Here on PEINTEINGU we have honor. Welcome to PEINTEINGU. Margie May Rikens Okri. Konnichiwa. There are some pics of ear-like creatures and people horseback riding on the beach. Shipwrecks are cool too. Ugly, the most hideous man in China. Ugly. Ah ha 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 ha. That was one of your laziest ones. Ruin. Yeah, you remember how Stewie and Family Guy, like, fucking, I love those conversations between Stewie and Brian and Family Guy. It's like, this evening has been ruined. And he's like, why are you saying it like that? Oh, that's what it has. It's been ruined. And he's like, how would you describe ancient historical buildings uncovered in Egypt? Ruins. Now, how would you describe this evening? Well, it's been ruined. Oh, I miss old Family Guy. It was fucking quality. PEINTEINGU. Right, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do a fucking, like, tropical island inlet with a sheer cliff and a shipwreck. That gives us ugly and that gives us sheer. But we need a question. We need a question. What's a good question to ask in Anguilla? Are you a twat? I could put twat question mark on the side of the shipwreck. Alright. That's the plan. That's what we're going with. Cool Whip. I know, I love that one too. Do you like some Cool Whip, Brian? That pie? Want some Cool Whip? Why are you saying it like that? Why are you pronouncing the H? It's Cool Whip. What was the thing? It's like, that pie has hair in it or something. He starts eating the thing. Oh. PEINTEINGU. Goo. Right. Quick sip. The elixir of life. Ah, glorious caffeine. Milk and honey. Even more glorious. I have already placed my royal rank upon my Demi Divine in preparation for the goo. We now load this pirate with some goo. And we get our bitches wet. These are our bitches. Well, they're my bitches, not yours. These are my bitches. We must get them wet in preparation for the goo, because nobody, I mean nobody, likes a stiff, dry bitch. They are, well, they're not useless. They have their uses. PEINTEINGU. Yes, the fan one. Right, tropical. Tropical. Okay. PEINTEINGU. Goo. We have some aqua green. I'm going to get my Ritter Mister and squirt a bit on the goo. Giggity. To allow the goo to flow freely. Sit back relax, or simply enjoy in the background as you crush your daily happenings, duties, as I take you to Anguilla in the Caribbean. And we shall paint a shipwreck with a very important question written on the side of it. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Painting goo 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 goo. How's everybody's chi today? Ah, mayhem miss you. Welcome to Painting Goo. Painting Goo 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 Goo. Some treasure! Fitting. Caribbean. Pirates. 'Twould almost be a shame to not have some booty on this painting goo. Painting goo goo. Goo 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 goo. Ah! Chi froze like a roaring riveroo. Indeed. Painting. Goo 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 goo. How we rooking? Glorious. Right. We have our sky. My chi froze like the Ganges after Tawari. Ooh, dirty chi. There's a dirty chi! What kind of paint are you using? Excellent question! A combination. If I'm using white or black, 'tis Pebeo Studio Acrylics. Excellent. Very opaque. Not matte, unfortunately, because that's what I actually wanted. But Pebeo Studio Acrylics. And if I'm not using white or black, I'm using this shit. Turner Acrylic Gouache is a Japanese. Is very good. Is glorious. Opaque, matte, immersion, water resistant. That is why you must keep your bitches wet. It literally says, keep bitches wet. It doesn't. You know, for legal reasons it doesn't. It says keep brushes wet, you know. Last thing I need is Turner Acrylic Gouache being like, this motherfucker! It says keep your brushes wet. That's actually where I got that from. That's why I keep my bitches wet too. Painting goo. It dries very quickly. It's glorious. Right. We have our sky. Now for the water. Painting goo, 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 goo. Ah, ultramarine. I will use a combination of whiter and ultramarine brew. Painting goo, 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 goo. Painting goo, 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 goo. Imagine the smear, Stubberusam. I love reading the comments in Japu, like, it's fucking so funny. Imagine the smear! What did you say? The smear! Its word be horrible! Can we have a shitting seagull somewhere? Oh, totally. Definitely. One of the funniest things I've ever witnessed in a video game was in the game Castle Crashers. And it's in the second level when you're going through the forest. And you come across an owl. And he's just perched on a branch, looking all serious and like kind of bored. And then the next thing you know, you just see a rustling in the trees. And this like really intimidating, powerful roar. Just like, you know, like, and the fucking owl shits himself to death and falls off the branch. Like, oh man, that like had me crying laughing. I was like, I don't know, probably around like my early teens when I was playing that. Like, I fucking cried laughing at that. It was so funny. I just started using gouache a few days ago, didn't know what to expect, but I love the stuff. I don't like using basic acrylics, unless you mix them with like water and, what's that stuff called? Gesso or something, some kind of medium, to like make them more opaque and matte and stuff. Gouache is amazing, and I also like the solid form of watercolors, because you can really easily switch between doing like a what would you call it, like a wash that's very faded, very transparent, and then just put like, you know, more water on the block and wait a bit, remove more pigment, and you can like almost pretty much make it look like gouache in a sense. Like, it's really cool. I would say like gouache and the solid pigment watercolors, from my experience anyway, are like really versatile. And you get like vibrant colors, and it really suits my kind of style, where it's like, you know, if you're doing anything realistic, I tend to make it kind of vague looking. It's very like impressionist, abstract kind of thing, but my style is very cartoony, and then like I do like abstract symmetrical shit. So I like the, you know, clean, defined, like, you know, one could argue cartoonish graphic lines, you know, which is, I find, really hard to achieve unless you do like layer after layer after layer with basic acrylics, you know. They're too gooey, they're too goopy, you know, whereas this stuff runs like butter. It's fucking gorgeous, especially if you do what I did, where you put down oh, what's it called, alla prima or whatever. Like, a lot of this fucking art stuff sounds so gay. You basically put down a brown, typically burnt sienna, or is it raw sienna? I can't remember. Either one, really. Like a mid-tone brown, because what that allows you to do is, like, if I put white on this, it'll really stand out, and the same if I put black on this, it'll really stand out, you know. Whereas if you just start on a white canvas, if you put yellow down, it's like, what did you even do anything, you know? Like, but yeah, I fucking love gouache. I rant a lot. If you're new to the stream, I rant like a motherfucker. Sometimes I don't even paint. I use my watercolor pencils with it. I was taking a break from oils. I haven't tried oils yet. I have. I'm scared of oils. Well, I have actually once used oils, and I liked it. But I don't like how long they take out to dry, and they almost like they blend and smudge too well sometimes from what I like. But I've said it multiple times on the stream that like I would probably move to oils eventually. Probably, I can see myself happening. I can see myself doing that. I can see it happening at some stage in the future, where I like get a hold of some decent oil paints, and I just like start. I'll probably just start with symmetrical stuff. I'll do like oil symmetrical shit, which could be really cool, cause like oil and a really cool oil painting with some, like, you know, nice highlights and contrasting shades, and you know, like, if you get the composition right, no matter what you're doing really, when you put a varnish over it, man, it turns into like a HD photo. Like, they're really cool. Like, it's good. We are learning. I am learning. I like that's like I am far from despite attempting to be a professional and actually earn a living doing this, I am far from an expert. Like, I'm learning as I go, like, you know. But that's just the type of person I am. Like, I've always been like that. I hated school. I fucking hated it. Apart from the classes that were like, you know, physical, that I could actually do something. Like, don't get me wrong, I liked history and stuff, but it's all a fucking bunch of lies. It's not really, you know, it's not all lies. It's not how lies work. Best lies have a bit of truth in them, don't they? I fucking hated school though. From my personal experience, the whole setup of school in general, in the West anyway, is almost, like, from what I could tell, designed to produce a certain kind of person. You know, let's just say it that way. Yeah, the thick ones can take up to years to dry. Yeah, like, that's insane. Like, don't get me wrong, I know it's like that's cool in a way, because like the same way like making fine wine, like, you know, that take, like, things that take an incredible amount of time. Well, I say incredible. Things that take longer than we want them to take are usually worth it, you know, typically. You know, there's like flowers out there somewhere in the realm. I think there's actually a Japanese flower that like blooms once a year, and there's like, I've heard of other flowers that bloom like once every 7 years or something. And there's like people who like literally like, you know, hunt these things down just so they can take a photo or a video recording of this thing blooming, because it won't happen again for another 7 years. Like, do you know what I mean? I think it's one of the most beautiful thing about children. Do you know what I mean? Is like, you have kids, and then like, it's like a whole, you get to watch an entire life that you helped create unfold. You know, it's like the positive side of it. The negative side is you get to watch a life you helped create totally unfold like a train wreck over the space of like X amount of years. Get my Ritter Mister out again. Squirt, squirt. Get one of these. If you're a painter, get one of these. These are fucking dead handy. They're really cool. It's so, like, you can just like watch. Especially because this stuff is water resistant when it dries. It's really cool. The gouache is water resistant when it dries, right? Even within like 10-15 minutes or some shit, to a degree anyway, like. And even spraying water onto this burnt sienna that I applied like earlier on today, and it's like nice and dry. Obviously it's wet now because I sprayed it, but like it just, like, watch, I can put the white on here, and because it's like these fan brushes are really good at shading. And you put, where do you want it to be darker? Okay, I want it to be darker here. Where do you want it to be lighter? You want the top of the wave here or something, like, you know? Painting, go. It's so easy. It's so fucking easy, like. Painting, go. It's like anything, like, you know, like, learning how to do something isn't difficult. Getting really fucking good at something is the thing, like, you know? Fighting, dancing, carpentry, fucking building an engine. You know what I mean? Like, you always like start at the basics and then just like slowly over time become more sophisticated and complicated and learn more things. Like a lot of like from my experience anyway, like anything from like all the different vocations that I just listed, a lot of it is just like simple tricks of the trade and knowledge, you know? You'd be surprised like that, like it's not like you have to train for years to, like, you know, get kind of like don't get me wrong, there's certain things like, you know, like accuracy, you know, some people are just naturally accurate, some people aren't, and some people have had to train to be accurate and shit. Like I'm naturally accurate. What I don't have naturally is patience and discipline, I suppose. But I suppose you could say nobody has discipline naturally. It's biased would be accurate. Yes, it's extremely biased. Obedient, yeah. They mold you, you know? They mold you into a little worker bee. You know, which, you know, in a morally ambiguous kind of way, it's like not necessarily a bad thing to be molded in a particular way, like, you know? I'm not saying molding children in a particular way is a bad thing, because in and of itself it isn't. But like you said, if you have a particular way and it's like, you know, there's all these different perspectives and viewpoints and you're picking like one and being like, this is history, you know, the fucking this and this is what you should do with your life, like, you know, this is what a good person is, like, you know. And then you get out into the real world as an adult and you're just like, what a crock of shit, like. For the most part. Like I said, the best lies contain truth. So it wasn't all bullshit. It was mostly bullshit, but it wasn't all bullshit. Painting, painting, painting. One thing I learned like really early on about painting is like, there's, Bob Ross was right. There's like not there isn't really such a thing as like making a mistake, especially if you're using the like paint mediums that I'm using, because they dry quickly and they're easy to blend. Like they're really forgiving. So like you can do all sorts of corrections on the fly and shit, especially if you have one of these things. You can just like, you know, keep it wet. Not too wet though, you don't want the thing like... That's why the little mister thing is so handy, because originally I had like a hairdresser's yoke, and that put too much water on it, it would drip, you know? And you don't want it to drip, you just want it to be wet enough that you can work it. Phrasing. Painting goo goo. Painting goo 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 goo. Another thing I learned in the last few years doing this is resolution. When you put something back further, like if you were to see this thing up close, a lot of the times completely different painting. That's one of the things I think is cool about doing this live on stream, where I can look at what it looks like pretty much on your phone, because it's like roughly that size. And that allows me to be like, alright, so if it's from this perspective, it'll look like this. And then at the same time, if I put tiny details in, you're not really going to see them yet. But then when I upload it to like Instagram or like TikTok or something, like I'll do zoomed in screenshots, and you get to see like all sorts of crap that you didn't see on the stream. A lot of oil painters do that with the abstract shit, the kind of vague stuff, where like if you are standing about 10 feet away, it looks real, and then you look at it up close and it looks like somebody's dinner just like smudged on a fucking... It's weird how it works. Like, your eyes are fascinating in the way they do shit. Paint! I'm trying to see where I'll put, like... Put the water too high. That's what I did. I'm gonna bring the sky down. And then we'll get our landmass and a cliff in there, and a beach. Can't forget about the white sandy beach. Because if I... Let me see. Oh, they're all the metal colours. Where's my brown? There we go. Painting goo goo goo. Put that away for a moment. Painting goo. Public school is a prison, in my experience. Yeah, where you get picked on constantly. Yeah, depending on who you are, yeah. I got bullied a bit, but I didn't, not majorly. I was a real angry ginge, so a lot of people like fucked with me a few times, and then they were like, okay, yeah, it's not worth it. Same here, not the way to learn. Would have worked on a farm or some type of construction, hated school. Yeah, like I really am an artist at heart. Like I would love to, like I love carpentry. I'd love to learn how to do like loads of different physical stuff, like, you know. I'll never have kids, but I have nephews and nieces. Ah, never say never. What age are you? I turned 33 this year. I'm still thinking about having kids. Painting goo goo. ASMR time. I get really close to the mic. Even socializing takes skill. Yeah, it really does. It takes a level of courage as well these days, you know, for a lot of people. So much like anxiety going around and shit. Like Which is understandable, because, like, shit's gotten so crazy, like, do you know what I mean? You have kids turning around to you being like, I'm a Tyrannosaurus Rex, I'm an attack helicopter, I'm a fucking, like, you know, I'm a pan-binary sexual wizard cunt. It's like, what the fuck, like, what do you even say to those things, like, do you know what I mean, like, it's like, okay, you know, like, painting. I miss a lot of social cues because I don't engage in social interaction. I'm pretty good with cues, but they annoy me sometimes because people can be very deceptive, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you know, when you notice something and other people don't notice it, and you're just like, I wonder if anyone else is going to say anything about that, like, because I don't like being the one. I used to. No, I've never liked it, actually, but I used to do it more, where, like, I'd be the one to be like, hey, what's this about, you know? And, like, you know, it's the thing that nobody, like, it's the elephant in the room. There's loads of people, like, looking around and being like, oh, is anybody gonna say anything? And then I'd, like, say it, and then you just get made out to be the villain most of the time, you know? Like, don't get me wrong, sometimes people will, like, walk up to you afterwards and be like, oh, I really appreciate that, like, somebody said something. It's like, well, why didn't you say that when I said it? You know? Like, if I'm gonna say something, what you want to happen is for you to say something, and then, like, at least 2 other people be like, yeah, he's right, and then, like, you get a conversation going. But a lot of the time, you just end up with, like, bad man, you know, like, deceiver, outsider, like, and you're just like, oh, whatever. Bunch of fills. I don't know, you seem pretty disciplined to me. You don't know me? Like, getting out of bed in the morning, getting out of bed in the morning at a consistent, you know, at a consistent time, like, over a long span, like, oh man, I'm still a big child in lots of ways, which is cool, you know, because even the Bible says, like, behave, like, be as children, you know, stuff like that. Like, obviously not in an immature sense, but, like, you want to have that, like, sense of, like, adventure and joy and wonderment and endless, infinite possibilities, potential, you know. I like that word. I like potential. But, like, you can't, like, you can't ignore certain things where you're kind of like discipline, you know. I lacked discipline in some major areas in my life. I just sat around playing video games and smoking weed and eating junk food for, like, at least 8 years of my life. And that was my trauma mechanism. That was my trauma defense mechanism. It was like, fuck it, I don't care anymore. I'm just gonna, like, I didn't want to rot away, but I ended up, like, becoming suicidal, so it didn't really matter. But, like, I just wanted to be comfortable. That's what it was. I became a creature of comfort because I was sick of being sore, sick of being angry, sick of being sad, sick of being betrayed, sick of being, like, traumatized in various ways, to various degrees. So you're just like, oh, fuck this, and you just, like a lot of young men suffer from that now, where they, like, check out of society and just play video games, have a job or whatever, like, because, like, they don't even look for a girlfriend, you know, because they're just like, oh, fuck it all, like, I've been there, man. It sucks, like, it's you know, it's all, like, crawling out of the pit thing, like, you know, like that bit in Batman, where, like, the rope's right there. You can climb out. There's nothing holding you here except, like, you know, that. You can't, like, there's no guards, you know. Rope's right there. Just do it. But most people, like, it's like that crabs in the bucket thing, where it's weird. It's like a group is, like, really powerful because, like, you can all, like, motivate and inspire and, like, take care of each other and shit. But groups can also be really, like, powerful in a negative sense because, like, they can be steered in a direction that is, like, completely destructive and self-destructive as well, like, you know. I mean, like, I'm sure everybody here, like, you've heard of that fucking it's like a famous thing that happened where, like, all of that cult, and they were all wearing jumpsuits and runners or something. Again, they took the piss out of it in Family Guy. It's where the whole don't drink the Kool-Aid thing came from, you know. as far as I know, anyway. Like, but like that's a perfect example of a group being a negative thing. You know, those people would have been better off if they weren't in that group. You know, but then like if you look at the Bears, like I'm part of a group called the Bears, and it's like made by a guy called Owen Benjamin, and that's a group, you know, and it's like from what I can tell, for the last like fucking what nearly 5 years or something, like it's a group of like typically for the most part it's a group of people who are utterly sick of the mainstream and all the bullshit, and they just want to like, you know, be around people that they can, number one, trust, because authenticity and like genuine and like, you know, non-deceptive behavior is it's kind of in short supply these days, you know. So that like there's examples of like, you know, the good aspect of a community and then the bad aspect of a community, like, you know. And there's a good aspect and a bad aspect to most things, in my opinion. I'm sure you could find some things that are wholly bad and some things that are wholly good, but like, I don't know. Good luck with that. Like, I was gonna do the shit like on the beach, so I'm gonna take some of this water out and like put a cliff and a beach in and shit. Like, painting goo. Man, it's hard to keep up with a chat with even 6 people. I don't know how these people run streams with like thousands watching them or something. Like, I was molded to be perfect. That's why I haven't finished several paintings. Tell me about it. Oh my god, I used to walk up to me dad with drawings and I'd be like, look what I did. And I wouldn't get the like, oh, that's really good, like keep it up or anything like that. Like, he'd just look at it and go, you're improving, and like hand it back to me. Or so, like sometimes he'd be like, you need to work on your hands, and like hand it back to me. I totally feel that, like, this self-imposed like, you're not good enough, it's not good enough, it needs to be better. It's like, yeah, but if you don't do stuff, you'll never get better. So there's like this stagnation of like, you start things and then you get to a point where you're like, oh, it's not good enough. And it's like, yeah, but you need to finish it, you know? And it is good enough. It's always good enough. Like, good enough for who? Good enough for what? You know? It's such a fucked up thing to do to yourself, like. I think like pretty much everybody like suffers from some kind of childhood trauma that has created defensive mechanisms, like, and like behavioral patterns and shit, like. Most people aren't self-aware enough to like realize it. I have just enough self-awareness to laugh at myself. Like, white beaches are my favorite beaches. Beach, please. I was wondering if somebody was going to do the beach joke. I pretended to be a cat in high school. I got called Catwoman. Well, that's what happens when you pretend to be a cat. Like, I pretended to be a cat in school. I got called Catwoman. Of course you did. Didn't want fucking Margie just goes meow. I didn't want to be human. I wanted to be an animal when I was a child. I had a bit of that, yeah. I totally had a bit of that where like I wanted to be a dinosaur at one stage. I loved velociraptors. And those things that headbutt things. I can't remember what they're called. I think it begins with a D. But yeah, I loved velociraptors. And like would legit like go around the fucking yard and like pretend to be I'd pretend to be a dinosaur and stuff, like. And I wasn't the only one, like we had a little group doing it and shit. It was hilarious, like. Do some hilarious stuff when you're a child. Me and my best friend, when we were like 4, or like I would have been like 4 or 5, and he would have been like maybe like 7 or something, like. me, him, and his little brother, like, we used to fucking... Like, I distinctly remember this from my childhood. And we would chase each other around my house in our socks. And try to put our feet in each other's faces. And be like, smelly feet! And be like, ah! Oh! Like, chase each other down. And, like, try and put your foot in his face. Smelly feet! You're like, oh, get away! Like... Oh, like, my ma used to, like... crying, laughing. She'd be there like cleaning or like watching telly or something. Like we're like legging it around the house, just like smelly feet. Oh, get away! It was hilarious. We used to break each other up as kids. Be trying like Street Fighter moves on each other and stuff. I nearly got put through a door. I like ended up upside down, like on upside down on my head against the wall. And me ma came into the room. She was like, "Are you okay?" And I didn't respond. I just started laughing. Ugh. You see how different it looks already with just that? Because it completely changed it. Like, I try to think as like, for me, what makes a lot of things easier visually is try to just think of things in layers. You know? Kind of like how they did South Park, where it's like, here's your background, and then you put the characters in front and blah blah. And like, you can really get away with doing that with the gouache because it's so opaque and it dries quick. So like the amount of times, if you go back and watch some of the older streams, especially one of the recent ones, I think it was like Japanese Ostrich Police. Fucking names to my episodes are hilarious. I like completely change some parts if I'm like, oh, that's not like the Conanator. You just put white all over the section you want to redo, and just wait a bit and then redo it. Fuck iPads. Pick up a paintbrush. Don't get me wrong, it can be expensive. It can be expensive. Like, when I have money on me, I'm like, ooh, let's buy a lot of canvases and paint, and like, I get the artist's, you know, itch. Real bad. The bystander effect. Yeah. The bystander effect's a weird one, isn't it? Where people, like, do... Like, how prevalent is that in today's society, where everybody just, like, if you see some mad shit go down, everybody just takes their phones out. It's like, do something! That man is drowning! I know, yeah, I'm gonna get, like, lots of fucking views, like, you know? Stupid fuck. Like, what kind of idiot, what kind of retard drowns on a Monday? Like, you know, it's like, help him! Like, oh, don't get me wrong, not everyone's like that, you know? You see some cool shit as well, like, where... Remember that clip that was going around where that little girl gets, like, she gets, like, dragged into the water by a seal? And some dude is just like, whoop, immediately, like that's what dudes are supposed to do, you know. I seen a clip there yesterday where some little scumbag, he looked like he was in early 20s or like late teens, aggressively approached a woman at a bus stop, and she's like recording with her phone. I think it's French, I can't remember. And he just walks up to her and they're talking. He's like talking shit to her, and she just, like, you know, says some stuff. You can tell her tone is like not aggressive and combative, like, you know, she's just like, yeah, whatever. And he fucking walks up and slaps her, right? And it, like, not like fucking 6 seconds later, some dude in sunglasses and a backpack comes out of left field, tackles him to the ground, and starts slapping the head off. And he's like, don't you ever do that! You must stop doing that! And all, like, you just see the subtitles coming up, like, and the young fella's like, ah! Like he was literally walking around with his chest out and all, like, you know, like 1 minute he's all like puffed up and trying to be alpha, and the next second, like, he's like literally some dude's bitch, like, you know. And it was just, it's good to see, you know, because it can be very frustrating. Like, I've been in situations where, like, I probably should have, you know, thrown hands, but I didn't, because the people involved were, like, close to me. But it's, and the frustrating thing is like, in my particular experience, I've only ever been aggressively approached by people that I like and like are close to me and shit, and I've been like, are you serious? I've never been aggressively approached by a stranger. Like, thank fuck, like, knock on wood, like, do you know what I mean? Like, you never want to get in a street fight, anything can happen, like, you know. But it's never happened to me, like, you know. Only the people close to me, like, and it's weird how life works like that, like, you know. You give off a vibe and you like behave a certain way, and people will like either come to you and love you, and then some of those people will like, it's like the Jesus story. At least one of them is gonna stab you in the back, just like guaranteed, you know. It's like literally human nature. One of them's gonna stab you in the back, like. It's just mad how that works, like. And then you get all these, like, you could have a negative person who like draws a lot of people in, but like how that works is like, you know, say like a drug dealer, you know, they're coming to you because they can get something from you. It's not too different. People were coming to me because they got something from me, a place to hang out, you know, shoulder to cry on, somebody to listen to them, somebody to play games with, you know. People do use you, and it's weird, like. And if you're honest with yourself, you can notice yourself using other people. You gotta cut that shit out, like, you know. You gotta do stuff for people. You do, like, put positive, creative, beautiful, true energy out, and it comes back to you. But unfortunately, because that kind of energy is valuable, and there's no price to it, like, you know, tangibly, it also attracts parasites and psychopaths because they know how valuable it is. It's weird how it works, you know. The more good, true, and beautiful you are, the more you have to deal with the dark, because like it starts to, like, you know, it's like Lord of the Rings. Like, that's why that resonates so much with us. Like, it's like the darkness is quite often like in the distance, and you don't really have to worry about it. But the greater you become, and the more light you exude, and the more shit you build, you know, and the more beauty you surround yourself with, and like people are growing and stuff like that, the dark starts to show up, and it's like, hey, we don't like that, and then it needs to be put down eventually, you know. But we live in a time right now where, like, you know, people aren't just like actively like getting up in arms and going to war, you know. If anything, we live in a time now where people are like, war doesn't really work. You know, it didn't solve anything. A lot of us died. Nothing got fixed. A lot of people got lied to. Like, doesn't really seem like war does anything great anymore. Like, do you know what I mean? So now we're warring online. You know, it's a culture war now, where it's like, whose behavior as an individual and as a group can actually like last and perpetuate and grow, and like, you know, I know nothing's permanent, but like could be like semi-permanent. Because you see all these like ideologies and these groups and these behaviors that just like turn into the snake eating itself, and they just dissolve because they don't have that fundamental foundation, that core purpose of like, why are you doing this? Well, I'm doing this because it's good, you know. Most people are like, why are you doing this? It's like, oh, well, I've got to get these amount of views, and I'm going to talk to this person, and I'm going to get this deal, and sign this contract, and get all this money, and then when I get the money, I'm going to buy an awesome car, and a massive house, and all this fucking shit. And it's like, why though? You know? Like, I want to live in a fucking mobile home in a field, and like, grow my own food and shit. I don't need a mansion. You know, like, it's weird how humans work. It's fascinating, but it's fucking weird, man. Painting goo goo goo. Peter Pan syndrome. I kind of have a bit of that. Like, not bad. Like I suppose I don't, because like I have matured in a lot of ways, like, you know, and I have accepted a lot of realities. But I still have a little bit of it. Like, I don't feel 30. You know? I just don't. I may look, like, I look in the mirror sometimes and I'm like, yeah, I'm starting to look a bit older, you know? But like, and I know this may sound arrogant, but like, I look at myself and I'm like, yeah, I'm okay looking, you know? I don't have like self-confidence problems and like insecurities in that sense, like, you know? If anything, I have a great amount of confidence, which is why a lot of people like me, but it's also why a lot of people hate me. Like, arrogant prick. Ah, come on. You know, I'm not arrogant. I'm just a bit cocky, like, you know. And, like, I'm not even cocky because, like, necessarily I want to be cocky. It's like it's a consequence of just being how you want to be. You know? But it's obviously it's not just how you want to be. You have to, like Mayhem Macy said, it's kind of like you have to learn how to be you in harmony with other people, you know? The whole, like, existence itself is like a swirling clock of, like, musical beats. And everything has its place. Everything has a rhythm. Everything has cycles. Everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end, and then it starts again. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like for something to start, something must end. So, like, being aware of all this, and just, instead of being like, well, where do I, you know, why am I here? Like, why am I alive? Why did God do this to me? If you believe in God, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think it's stupid not to believe in God, but whatever. I get it. I was never atheistic, but I was agnostic for a while. But then again, these things are just names and terms and stuff. Like, I didn't have faith. That's what I would describe it as. Now I do. And it is, it's very powerful. Faith is incredibly powerful. Like, even in a utilitarian sense, faith is, like, really powerful. Painting, goo. Yeah, men have gotten a bad rap lately, like the last 10 odd years in the social sphere, you know. Women are, like, really going crazy with the whole, like, we don't need men, you know, like, it's a bit mad, like, you know. They say when you get old, you go into second childhood, but I never left my first one. Yeah, that's how I feel. They believe that man knew a better fate for them. They trusted and believed so strongly because they wanted so bad for it to be true. Right, you talk about the feminists? Yeah, I love the whole yin and yang shit. It's a really good visualization of a lot of things. I don't mind if you spam, really, you know, like, and it isn't spamming technically, you know, you just talk a lot, which I don't mind. I talk a lot, but like it's only like if you say some shit, you know, like I have, like, I know it's like technically it's not a good way to, like, you wouldn't be able to make it a rule, but the general rule on my stream is just don't be a cunt. And you can hang. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I swear to God, like, that's basically it. It's just don't be a cunt. Like my painting right now look like crap, but oh well, I could just paint over it and try again. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You know? It doesn't, like, you think it does. You start thinking that, like, it's somehow a reflection upon you in various ways. It's not. It's just paint. It's just you. It's just canvas. It's just life. Just live it. Stop thinking about it. You know? And just, like, be in the moment. And just be you and be in the moment. Now, don't get me wrong. I know, like, if you start going down all the logical arguments as to why not to do that, because, like, well, what if you're a rapist or a pedophile or a fucking serial killer? It's like, just be you in the moment. Like, just like, fucking stupid bitch, you fucking, like, I get it, like, you know. But most people aren't like that. So, like, just be cool, G. Like, you know. My sister and I used to scream in each other's ears because it made them tingle. Your parents are like, oh shit, they're gonna make each other deaf. Oh, that's hilarious. Man, kids do the funniest shit, like. That's fucking gas. Painting goo. I should have been fanning this the whole time. Oh my god, shit. Painting goo. I'm gonna do sand all the bottom. Yeah, I'll do it. Sand all in here. Is that the end of it? I was talking for a while, so that's probably the end of it. Yeah, that's the end of it. Okay. Tunes number 2. Where's my tunes? Tunes number 2. Yeah, like what the fuck? My sister and I used to scream at each other's ears because it made them tingle. It's so funny. We'd scream warm pajamas and cup our hands around each other and scream real loud. Oh, that's hilarious. And it's so random, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of energy I like to keep on this stream, is just like, just let God be in control, you know? Just make it as random as possible and just go with the flow. Fucking warm pajamas. Paintingu. Paintingu. Right, need to get some sandy colour. Get the white, and we get like lemon yellow. Get a real, very pale yellow going, should do the job. When I was a kid, my friends and I would pretend we were Dragon Ball Z characters. I was the only white kid on the block who also watched DBZ and 90s anime. That's hilarious. Oh, that's fucking hilarious. I was the only white kid on the block who also watched anime and DBZ. That's brilliant. Oh man. I'm trying to think now. Mortal Kombat. I used to pretend to be like Mortal Kombat characters a lot, and Street Fighter. Some funny stuff, like, and we'd pretend to be dinosaurs and shit. Like, I got big into Lego. I spent a lot of time on my own in my room doing battle scenes with my Lego stuff and all. Like, I was big into these things called Bionicles. Really cool shit. Like, I created my own character for the show named Gollum. She was the daughter of Goku and Chi-Chi and had a big crush on the pink shirt wearing veggie haired Saiyan. Have you seen the Humongous video? Oh, is that the Humongous? Yeah, like, is that your one freaking out because she's like, I'm being sexually assaulted? And it's like, but that's my name. My name is Humongous. That's what that was, isn't it? It's hilarious. I'm too old to know what DBZ is. DBZ goes way back. Dragon Ball was the beginning. The beginning of what? A cultural phenomenon. One of the reasons I think is like, so I say nigga a lot, and it's not because I think I'm black, you know, like, but I grew up watching a lot of like black stand-up and black comedy, and I would also watch a lot of these YouTube like clips of like, so there's like, Dragon Ball Z was so big in like ghetto black communities, right, that you end up with a load of these like, get like these like little black young fellas recording themselves and putting it up on YouTube of trying to go Super Saiyan. And if you've never watched this, right, just go to YouTube and type in trying to go Super Saiyan or black kids trying to go Super Saiyan. It is one of the funniest fucking things you will ever witness. It's literally kids just like, you know, like, they're trying to like charge up their power. And it's fucking so funny. The commitment out of some of them. So, like, you can tell that some of them genuinely think they might actually burst into energetic flames all of a sudden if they try hard enough. And I love it. I have that. Like, do you know what I mean? I've spoken about it on the stream before. Like I believe in telekinesis and stuff and all. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's a lot of stuff out there we're not told about because it's dangerous. You know, makes sense. You know, I mean, could you imagine how fucking hard it would be to deal with criminals who had psychokinetic powers and shit? Like, you know, like some Metal Gear Solid shit. Like, fucking mind controlling politicians from, like, you know, miles away and shit. Like, I think some mental shit happens, literally mental shit happens, like, all the time. I don't think aliens are a thing in the way that most people would think aliens are a thing, you know, like the atypical mainstream UFO little grey man shit. Like, I don't think that's how it works. I think there's other entities and other species and creatures that we're not privy to, because if we were, it would mean that we were privy to other stuff that we're not allowed know. You know, like, and there's a reason we're not told, and it's not necessarily malevolent. That's what I believe. I believe a lot of this is, like, actually to keep us safe, and a lot of it is to keep us safe from ourselves. But to what degree, do you know? Because it could, like, you quickly could get, like, along that thought line, you could quickly get to, like, this, the whole nanny state thing. That, like, oh, we just have your best interest in mind. And we already saw that with, like, you know, the fucking, the Jibba Jabba incident of the last couple of years. The whole, like, you know, the arguments they used were crazy, you know, like the gaslighting and stuff, like, you know, fucking, like, people who don't do this are no better fucking drunk drivers and all, like, crazy shit, like, you know. So that, like, that is a factor, that, like, there are people out there who want to treat you like cattle and, like, farm you for resources. That's totally a thing as far as I'm concerned, you know. In my humble opinion, I believe there are groups and individuals in our society that parasitically feed off of other groups and people in various ways, whether it be emotional, mental, financial, chemical, physical, you know, all of these things. Now, why and what their motivations are, like, that's when I think things start to get spiritual. The tale of Goku, then Dragon Ball Z, when Goku grows up, the Dragon Ball Tenchai, I think it's called. Never watched that saga. Yeah, like, I've never actually sat down and watched all of Dragon Ball. I can't stand the whole, like, so you finally come! Allow me to charge my spirit ball for the next 3 episodes! You know, like, I couldn't stand all that shit. But, like, a lot of it's really cool. It's very iconic for lots of reasons. People will sense that you're different, that you don't act the same, and they will treat you accordingly as such. Yeah, people either get, like, people either meet me and, like, come in contact with me in real life or online, and they're like, oh, this dude's cool, you know, or they're instantly like, I don't like him, he's arrogant, I can't control him, like, you know, all this shit, like, you know, because, like, I'm not a dickhead, like, you know, like, I'm a nice guy, but, like, because I don't put up with any bullshit, and the reason I don't put up with any bullshit is because I used to. Like, it makes perfect rational sense. Like, I spent years putting up with so much bullshit, you know, like, and then you get all of it out of your life, and you're like, it was my responsibility. It's your responsibility, you know. Keep your temple clean, and keep out the fucking riffraff, like, you know. But in your life, in your body, and in your mind, weed your garden. I know about Puff the Magic Dragon. That's like the fucking. That's all I got. I know about Puff. That's fucking like the Ouroboros. Yeah, the snake eating itself. I love all the esoteric shit, biblical stuff and all. Like, you got some of the coolest names of things and all. Like Beelzebub. Like, it's fucking Lord of the Flies and stuff. Like, some of the shit is awesome. Abaddon. You know, like Agamemnon. I don't think that's a biblical one. I think that's just like a Greek Roman name or some shit. Like Agamemnon was the guy involved in Troy, wasn't it? There's a dragon in Dragon Ball 2. Apparently it's called Parunga. I'm a classic. That's a really good way of saying you're old. As you're a classic. Vintage. Vintage. Painting goo goo. They're just jealous they lack that confidence. Yeah, most of the time. And stop blaming them for your discomfort. Yeah, like, you know, I had years of that where I was like blaming my mother and my father for how like angry and upset I was all the time. Which, like, in the context of my personal view made sense, you know, but I just wasn't aware. Like, my frontal cortex hadn't developed yet, and I wasn't like, how you're dealing with all the shit that you've been through is the thing that's perpetuating your fucking trauma cycle, you goddamn retard. And when you realize that, you're like, oh shit, I'm in control, it's my fault, oh fuck, you know. And then you start a whole new trauma cycle where you're like, you feel guilt and shame, and you're like, oh shit, I've like wasted so many years of like my life and stuff, and like, what the fuck am I gonna do now, and all. Like, it's a roller coaster of emotions. But like, the only way through it is through it or around it. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you can't just ignore it or like pretend it's not there or like shrug it off or bury it or whatever. Like, no, you need to deal with it. You need to either judo toss the fucker out of the way by, like, you know, using its energy against itself, or you just like fucking take it straight on. I've done both, kind of, you know. Some things I've taken straight on and just like grit and bear and like rip and tear until it is done. And then like other things you just like, whoop, not like, that's not happening again, you know. That pure like fucking, yeah, pimp and pimp. Just like, you know what I mean? It's like that, like, what's the term I'm looking for? That a confident navigation of your environment and your problems. But sometimes you can't just like navigate it. Sometimes you literally need to sit there for a while and like pickaxe and fucking just like, I will get through this. Like, and you do eventually get through it. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes you can go months or even a few years of like, I've been at this for how long now and I haven't made any progress. Like, what the fuck is going on? But like, you will get there. There is, you know, like, even if you have to reassess, even if you have to look at your fucking tools and you're like, you know, like, try a different tactic or something, like, do you know what I mean? Like, just keep swimming, you know, like Dora or Dory, like Dory, just keep swimming. They're not causing the discomfort, it's within you. Yeah, that's why I like the Irish language. Is really cool the way it says. So in English you say I am sad, I am angry, but in Irish you say Tá brón orm, which means sadness is upon me. Totally different mentality, you know, totally different way of communicating and expressing to yourself and to others what's going on, you know, in that moment. Because if you identify as the emotion, I am sad, you know, it's like this, you're literally telling yourself that you are something, so you then become it, you know. But if you acknowledge it as like a passing storm, you are not the storm. You're in the storm. The storm is above you. It is around you. It is upon you. You know, war is upon you. But like, you are not the war. You're just in it. And because time is not linear, it's weird how like you can learn a lesson and that like allows you to progress and navigate through life better. And then you get to a certain point and something will happen, or you'll think something, or you'll realize something, And it, like, that's what brings you back to a childlike state where you're like, oh my god, like, I'm such a fucking, like, how am I only learning this now? Like, how am I here this long and I'm only coming to this realization now? Like, what the fuck? It's like those videos of those mechanics on TikTok where they see someone do something really handy and then it just cuts to them and like, are you fucking serious? You're telling me I've been fucking doing this for 40 years the wrong way? Like, it's hilarious, like. Faith helps keep you focused. Yeah, totally. Because they are constantly accused of shit they never did. Yeah. That creates real frustration and, like, resentment. Is, like, if somebody's like, you're this! And you're like, no, I'm not. Don't you fucking, like, keep my fucking name out your mouth. You know? But, like, you can't stop them. Do you know what I mean? It's like you can't get rid of the demon voices. Like, you know, it's like, they're always going to be there. It's how you learn how to deal with them, like, do you know what I mean? And, like, that's, a lot of the time, it is just that. Is they deliberately lie to cause you to have an emotional reaction so that they can start worming their way in and, like, manipulating you and, like, moving you like a chess piece, like, you know? Someone's like, you know, you're a horrible person. It should just, like, wash over you like water off a duck's back. Do you know what I mean? You should just, like, if, like, the great thing to do is just smile and laugh. You just be like, okay, yeah. No cuntiness. Yeah, like, how far does your memory go back? My memory goes as far back as, like, I think about 3 or 4 is, like, some of the earliest shit I can remember. I think the earliest memory I have, I was probably 2-ish, maybe 3-ish. And no, yeah, the earliest memory I have is in being held in my dad's arms, walking up a staircase in the apartment that we were living in. We called it a flat. And I had, like, this, like, toy garage with loads of cars. Really colourful thing. Where the cars would go up an elevator and then down a road and stuff. Like, that's, like, the earliest I can remember. And I think I was, like, 2 or 3. My boys love Lego. Gonna get them the motorized Technic stuff when we move. Oh man, Lego's so good. It's so, like, it really, like, the combination of being able to build whatever the fuck you want really with it, really, but also buying kits that come with instructions. It's a really good way to teach your kids a lot of, like, fundamental logic shit, you know. Yes, do it. Sounds like they're trying to take the biggest dump ever. What? Fart on painting goo, make it more valuable. I would never do such a thing. Intentionally. I have definitely SBD'd on the stream before. Anytime you see me listing lazily to the left. For a moment. Just like... Just... Totally natural, nothing wrong with it. Especially if you can't smell it. You're safe! Ohayo gozamasai. Fodo-sama. Whatever that means. I'm still working on my Japanese. If aliens are real, they're demons, and they must be slain, rip and tear. Yeah, like, not necessarily, though, because, like, you know, you could conflate aliens with, like, extraterrestrial shit, and extraterrestrial shit could just be other... Like, I'd say there's other humanoids. You know? I wouldn't be surprised if they're dudes that are, like, you know, 10 foot tall and blue. I wouldn't be surprised if there's, like, other dudes who have, like, gills and can swim and shit, like, indefinitely, like, you know? Wouldn't surprise me at all. I wouldn't be surprised if there are lizard people. I think we are being kept in a pen. for various reasons. Where am I? Oh, okay. Ah, Dick Fordu! Welcome to Paintingu. Vintage is what we used to call. And so I guess I'm an antique. I stayed angry for over 30 years. Oh, it wasn't that bad. I'm only turning 33 this November. I was angry. I had an incredible amount of anger and sadness and trauma for approximately 15 years. Yeah. I'd probably cut it down to 10 major years solid of like just shit happening all the time, dealing with family stuff, people dying, friends fucking with me, like me doing harm to myself in various ways, making really stupid decisions for stupid reasons. I numbed it with alcohol. Same. I got to a point where I couldn't smell Smirnoff or it'd make me dry heave. It takes a lot of effort, but it's worth it. Yeah. Your life is worth fighting for. You can't have a good life, you know, no matter who you are. I genuinely believe that. Like, you know, like fucking, especially if you haven't done some crazy shit like murder or rape or like some shit yet. Like, you know, you can go pretty far down the dark tunnel and still go, oh shit, fuck this, and turn around and walk towards the light. You know, it takes effort to get to a point where like you could argue you're irredeemable. You know, most people are definitely redeemable, but they have to redeem themselves. You know, you try to save other people, a lot of the time they'll end up trying to kill you. How often do you come on? Paintingu is Monday to Friday from 3 PM GMT to whenever the fuck I want to. Sometimes I do like, rarely I've done a 5-hour stream. Quite often I do around 3 hours. Most of the time I do 2 hours. I used to get mad and say others were making me feel that way, but it wasn't them, it was how I was perceiving it. Yeah, like, they're not making you feel a certain way. They're doing their thing. And when their behavior produces a stimulus, and then you're processing that stimulus alchemically and spiritually and mentally and whatever, and then you're deciding to act upon it based on your opinion, essentially, and your beliefs and stuff. Now, obviously, if somebody, like, it's like, if somebody's coming at you with a knife, it's like, he's trying to stab me. He wants to do harm to me. It's very obvious. But, like, when somebody insults you, you can't, like, you could easily make the argument that it's like the only reason they're behaving in that manner is because of something within them, and they're like expressing it. So it's like it really is. It's like, don't take shit too personally. Everybody takes everything personally, especially the last 10 to 15 years. It's like, I'm offended. So what? Do you know what I mean? Like, there was fucking comedians saying that like 15 years ago. It's like, these people who were like, I'm offended. I was offended. It's just this really good Australian lad, Steve Hughes, who called it years ago and was like, I think he was on, like, I can't remember if it was on the Apollo, the English thing, but it's like, I think you can still find it on YouTube, where he's like, nothing happens when you get offended. Nobody has ever said, do you know what? I went to see a comedian there the other day, and he said something, and I was offended. And the following day, when I woke up, I had cancer. It's like, that's never happened. Like, nothing happens when you get offended. Just get offended all you want. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's your fault that you're offended. Like, I find that offensive. So what does that tell you about yourself? You know, like, it's hilarious. Like, because when you do the inverse, right? Take somebody like me, who like loves the good, the true, the beautiful, honor, integrity, all these fucking really cool things that were, you know, I thought we got brought up on in all the fucking hero movies that we watched, like, do you know what I mean? But sorry, obviously I was mistaken. Fucking like, when somebody's like, when somebody engages in behavior that I find offensive, technically, like, you could make an argument that you're supposed to find that stuff offensive. You know, the profane, the ugly, and the lie. You know, like, you're supposed to be like, that's wrong, that's horrific. You know, that bitch is ugly, and I'm not sorry. You know, like, because think about it. If you're like, if that bitch is ugly, what's better for her? You know, whatever about everybody else in the equation, what's better for her? For us to lie to her and be like, oh, you're beautiful, you know, you're a beautiful queen. It's like, no, bitch, give her the truth. And then if she can process the truth, her life will be better, you know? If she goes around thinking she's fucking God's gift and she looks like a bulldog chewing on a wasp, that only hurts her, like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, your shadow's always going to be part of you, but it isn't you, you know? Emotions are meant to point towards weakness, not to identify with. Yeah, they're like mirrors that pop up, and they're like, this part of you isn't completely dealt with. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, you have still a lot of work to do. Like, that's why it's like you got the devil and the angel. Like, do you know what I mean? It's like when something happens to you, there's three people at least. This is how I see things. There's like, something happens to me, like say I'm walking down the road going to the shop, and some dude like shoulder checks me. That just happened to at least 3 people. There's the bad me, the good me, and just me, which is like the child, you know, the pure, unstimulated, still learning everything, all this shit. You have to make a choice of whether to go with that one, or like to, you know, kind of choose an in-between somewhere, like, you know. And like, typically, you know, on a good day, some dude goes boom, even on purpose, blatantly, intentionally. I'd be like, sorry, man, and like, not engage, you know. I'll even express it as if it was my fault. Should have seen you coming, you know, you big angry dumb fuck. But like, if you receive that kind of stimulus and you get, you know, he hits off you, and you turn around and you're like, hey, what the fuck was that for? Now you've escalated it. You've created an entire new scenario, and probably you're giving him what he wants, you know. So why would you give a fucking dickhead what he wants? No, don't give him what he wants. Just walk. Don't even like, don't give him your energy, you know. Don't consent to being involved in his dickheadedness, you know. I don't get mad hardly ever. I've learned it's not healthy. Oh man, it's a quick way to an early grave. Being angry like on the regular, like look at my like furrowed brow, even though I'm in a like obviously a good mood, like, do you know what I mean? Like, my face, just like my resting face, you can still see the signs of like look at my fucking logo and shit, like, do you know what I mean? Like, I come from anger, you know. I wasn't born in blood, I was born in rage. Can't do anything about it, especially as a man. I hate when I can't remember what you're replying to, because I want to reply to everything, but maybe that's me being stupid, like, and idealistic. Just let it slide off you the best you can. Yeah, water off duck's back is the best way to approach most shit, like. Yeah, like, it's learning how to deal with the frustration of the double standards and hypocrisy, you know, is a lot of it. I know it's not healthy. I wish I had better control of my anger. Still in progress. Got a lot of damage to heal from, yeah. It's kind of like in the bear community, we would describe that as like, must be nice to be not angry. Like, well, I suppose in the bear community we wouldn't be like, must be nice. It'd be like, must be nice to be not angry. Wonder what that feels like. Yeah, when they power up. Yeah, when people trying to go actual Super Saiyan. Oh, it's hilarious. It takes time and practice, just like anything else. Yeah, discipline over one's emotions is not easy. I was sexually abused as a child. I told my parents and they didn't believe me. That's why I spent so long angry. Ah, that's a harsh one. And really common, unfortunately. From what I've heard, that's really common. Like, most females get some kind of sexual abuse when they're young. Which is fucking crazy. It's crazy. Children are so vulnerable. Man, it's fucking horrifying, some of the shit that happens. You know? All you can do is learn about it, be aware of it, and adapt, you know? I'd have to go to family dinners and sit eating with my abusers. Oh, Jesus, that's rough. And sometimes people will say something, but if I am in a fight and fight or flight state, I will perceive that they're saying as critical, and I lash out like, yeah, but it's understandable, you know? It's all very understandable. Screwed perception of reality because of the trauma endured at such an early age. Yeah, it skews your lens. You see everything as a threat, you know? Which is not necessarily a bad thing, especially in today's society. But it's not healthy long term. It's good to treat people who are offended like they shit themselves. I'm offended. Uh-oh, somebody needs a nappy change. Yeah. I found that very offensive. Oh, you poor thing. Here, have a napkin. I was touched once when I was little by an old man. I only told my brother. I knew better not to tell my daddy. The man caught me off guard. Plus, he's only touched me through my clothes. I'm sorry that happened to you. Yeah, that sucks. But that's what I mean. Look, I mean, like, two females in my chat, and there's only, like, been 10 people here the entire time. Both had shit done to them. And one is older than the other. So, that tells you right there that what I said a minute ago is, like, unfortunately very true. Most females get something done to them. It's crazy. Indeed, Brother Stabaru. Remember to like, share, and subscribe if you have any honor. You will pay for Paintingu. Click the link in the description to support Paintingu. Paintingu. As of this moment, YouTube doesn't think I am worthy of payment to. So it is up to you to maintain your honor and pay for Paintingu. I liked and subscribed. Ah, thank you. Domo arigato, Margi-u. Yeah, being angry all the time is no different than being sad all the time. Like, obviously it has its differences and its nuances, but they're very fundamentally the same. You're distracted from reality, you know? There's not, like, you know, it's like, there's a Bono with his fucking rose-tinted glasses, and didn't Jimmy Savile do the same thing? Where, like, people use their free will typically out of fear and cowardice, you know? But a lot of them are, like, malevolent fucks, but they, like, they deliberately veil their existence with something, you know? And it's like, I mean, you could probably make the argument that people like, even somebody like Jimmy Savile is like a fucking monster, was probably a monster like that because an even worse monster did something to him, you know? And it doesn't excuse what he did and shit, like, you know, but it's like, it's probably the reality. Men get accused and cannot do anything about it, really. Yeah, like, I mean, like, we unfortunately live in a time where it really is a case where if some female turns around and goes, he sexually abused me, or he sexually assaulted me, or he raped me, or whatever, and stuff like with pedophilia as well. Like, you know, like he's a pedophile. Like, you know, even if you show everyone all the evidence in the world that that is a complete fabrication and a lie, you'll still have a lot of people who are like, yeah, but I don't know though. Like just having it said, marks you, and that's what's crazy, is because people don't think that it's like, you know, because everybody knows that, like, you know, especially like don't take offense, but like, well, take offense if you want. But from my personal experience, because females can't engage in confrontation to the degree that males can physically, females are much more cunning when it comes to like emotional argumentation and shit. So females will typically say some shit that they know will like emotionally trigger you, because they're trying to get you to do something or not do something, you know. And like typical case is female will goad a male to such a point where the male either like slaps her, pushes her, tells her to shut up, get out of my face, or whatever. Because the female will, like, you know, hit me, you know, you're like, yeah, well, you little bitch. Like, they'll call you a bitch to get you to do it, or they'll be like, you know, you'll be getting angry and fucking, you know, trying to walk away from them, and it's like, oh, you're gonna walk away like a bitch? Like, either way, you're fucked. You're just trapped in this like guilt trip, emotional fucking shit. Like, you know, it's horrible. I've been there. And like, as a man who prides himself on having a sense of honor, the last thing you want to do is like beat a woman, you know. So when you're put in those situations where you're like, I literally can't do anything, you know, like I've had to get bitches like by the arms and just like whoop and move them out of the way of the door I'm trying to leave through. Like, you know, like, some bitches can be psychotic. Like, it's just like, please get out of my way so I can leave. It's like, no, you will stay here and you will eat all this shit from me. It's like, what the fuck? It goes both ways. Like, you know, there are women who are utterly psychotic, really manipulative, and like totally self-centered, and have a victim consciousness and won't take accountability for fucking anything. They're like narcissistic to the core. And then you also have men who automatically think that because they can beat the fuck out of a woman, that they can just do that, you know. It's like, shut up bitch, boom. Like, that's the same to me. Do you know what I mean? Those are like the same kind of evil to me. It's like the fact that I could rip apart a female with my bare hands is exactly why I don't engage, you know. That's exactly why I would be like, I have had enough of this, I'm going to leave, you know. Perhaps we can speak about this later when you are less emotional, which tends to make them very emotional. Like, it's hard. Like, it's hard to deal with somebody else's emotions while you're dealing with your own, you know. And then you expand and extrapolate that onto a whole society, you know? Madness, like. Man, I would hate to be the police or the cops or whatever like that who, like, show up at, like, domestics. You know, like, oh, we got a report and a woman being on a man for, you know, possible stabbing. Like, you know, and you show up at the house and they're, like, killing each other and you have to get in the middle of that shit, like. Oh, God, fuck that, like. Like, I shit with my mother, like. It's crazy. Being a crazy psycho bitch, lying about everything, fucking putting the house in disorder, not taking care of me and my sister well enough, like, to the point where we grew up way too quick, way too fast, like, way too soon, you know. Seen some dark shit, been around dark people doing dark things, like, at a young age and shit, like, seen her do some crazy fucking stuff, like, and then, like, she's, like, taken out on me and my sister, like, ended up in court over it and all. Like, I've said all this. Go back and watch all the other Painting Goos and pay for them. I want to paint one like that and put Puff the Magic Dragon in the water. What's Puff doing in the water? He should be in the sky. I puff too much. I'm just gonna flow here for a while. Like, I think I did a thing called Puff the Magic Dragon in school. That's like a fucking. And then I think the teenager. I think the teacher told me to change the name of the dragon. She was like, "It's cute and it's funny and the drawings are nice, but you need to change the name." And I was like, "Oh, really?" She was like, "They're kids. Change the name." I was like, "All right." Like, yeah, you should try to be a part of society and engage in society. Like, don't withdraw from society because society seems crazy. The only way society is going to get better is if sane people are in it, you know? So, work on yourself as much as possible, in the best way possible. Get yourself healthy, you know, like, physically, mentally, spiritually, and engage in society. If you're, I would suggest if you're going to engage in anything like politics, only do it locally. You know, I think you should only engage in societal things that are like related to you, you know, locally. Because one of the reasons why this shit is so out of hand is because everybody gets on Twitter and argues about shit that they have nothing to do with or no effect on whatsoever. You know, it's like, stop bitching and moaning and arguing about shit in other countries and fucking grow something in your backyard. You know, like I was growing a friend of mine gave me tomatoes, and I'll never forget this. I'll never fucking forget this. A friend of mine gave me tomato seedlings, right? And when I turned around to my mother, because I was still living with my mother at the time, and I said, one of the lads is after giving me 3 tomato seedlings. I'm going to put them at the back garden. And she said, "No, you're not. I don't want to grow food in my back garden." I was like, "What? Why not? You like tomatoes. You love tomatoes. Like, what? How is that a rational argument at all?" Like, and she was just like, "No, madness." Like I often was just met with that kind of stuff where it just made like stuff that made no sense. You know, it makes sense if you're, you know, hyper materialistic and like, you know, suffering from arrested development to an insane degree. Like, I know my mother, so I can like peer into her mind from her perspective, and I'm like, okay, I get why you don't want tomatoes in your back garden, but you're a fucking lunatic, so I'm putting them in the back garden. And I put them in the back garden, and I grew them, and they were beautiful. And then I moved here, and I was like, don't let my tomatoes die. And they let them die. And I was very upset. And I haven't gotten around to growing something since, because I've just been trying to focus on my painting and trying to make money so that the female stress levels go down. Hypervigilance can be very draining. Oh yeah, man, totally, definitely. Your nervous system needs to like chill the fuck out, you know, every now and again. This is why I struggle to keep a job. You just get too stressed. I never struggled to keep a job. The only jobs I could get were like short-term jobs, you know. I was never able to get a job that was like, right, this is you, you know, unless you give us a reason to fire you. It was always like 6-month contract, 12-month contract, 12-month work placement. Oh, it's so stupid, like. And it was so annoying because like everywhere I worked in, apart from one place, there was one place I worked in where I didn't give a fuck, and it showed in my work. But the rest of them, they were all like always like bigging me up and telling me how good of a worker I was, and they were always like so appreciative of the effort I put in and shit, and it doesn't matter, they still just kick you in the teeth, like, you know, straight up lie to your face, like, you know. I'm older than anyone here, more than like, what are you, in your 60s or something, are you? I'm 36, I think, lost track. I totally get people who don't keep count. I don't give a fuck about birthdays, really, you know? Big concern for me as a father of 3. Anyone touches my my kids, I don't know what I'll do. Yeah, like, you're like 6 something and all, and you go to gym and shit, like. Like, that's probably exactly why your kids would never be fucked with, like, because somebody hunting for kids would see you around the kids and be like, well, I'm not fucking with him. Like, over 6 foot, bald. I know he's Canadian, you know, so really gay, but like... Emmanuel Godsonu, welcome to Paintingu. I liked every job I ever had. Didn't like how some people were... Yeah, typically it's the people. It's not the work, you know. Now, I say that. There was one job I had where I was working in a rubbish... like a garbage processing plant, and that was brutal. That was some brutal shit, like... but it wouldn't be as bad if the work conditions were better, you know? Because it's like you're dealing with garbage, which is foul in itself, but we're also dealing with garbage people, and like garbage circumstances. You know, like run-down building, canteen is like completely like out of order and doesn't really have anything in it and shit. Like it's a foul place to work. My sister is a psycho. I think every female would be able to say that. Cause like my ma has how many aunties do I have? 6 or something, and like at least 2 of them are like fucking batshit crazy. Yeah, they were very easy to grow. The tomatoes were gloriously easy to grow, and they were beautiful. I couldn't wait to eat one or something, like, and fucking bitches let them die. Yeah, the only way you adapt and grow resilient to something is if you expose yourself to it, like, you know. Yeah, arguing online is a complete waste of time. Totally agree. It's, these days, like, arguing online is simply a grift, in my opinion. It's just a grift. It's a way of generating attention, which generates an income, you know? It's so low. It's so low. I just woke up. It's fucking 5:10, nigga. I don't know when you put that in the chat. Tomatoes attract butterflies? No way. Didn't know that. We have an allotment that grew tobacco once. Never got to smoke it though. Ah, that sucks. I'd love to grow my own tobacco and smoke it. I'd say, oh man, I'd say it would taste amazing, and I'd say there'd be a huge nicotine buzz off it and all that. That'd be a cool thing to do, is like stop smoking, start growing your own tobacco, and then like, you know, completely off the tobacco and nicotine. Take like what, 3-4 months or something, and then grow your own tobacco and then process it and all, and then make your own cigarettes, and then just like sit down one night with like a coffee or a whiskey or something, like, and just spark one of them, just be like, oh, I grew this. Like, don't get me wrong, if it was legal I'd do it with other stuff. Like, I get delusional. I start thinking co-workers hate me. Oh, that's unfortunate. I think a lot of women suffer from that. With like that insecurity thing where you start thinking people, like, you know, I hope they don't think X, Y, and Z of me. It's like, but even if you could know what they think, it's not your business what they think. Even if it's about you, you know, it's their thoughts, you know. So unless they express it outwardly, you know. Now don't get me wrong, I know you get vibes. Somebody makes some like passive aggressive, you know, comment or something, and you're like, oh, well, they clearly don't like me. Like, but like, you know, it's a fun one to deal with when you come across like if you generally get along with people, and like most of the people you meet like being around you and like you and shit, and then you come across a person who doesn't, you're kind of like, what the fuck's wrong with you? You know, like, but there may be nothing wrong with them. They might not just not like you, like, you know. And it's like it builds character. How do you deal with somebody who doesn't like you, you know? And especially if they have a really good reason, you know? Like if they come up with a totally rational, totally logical reason as to why they don't like you, and you're just like, Okay, well, my ego hates you right now, but my brain is like, they've kind of got a point. Like, it can be wild. Like, my tomatoes are doing great. I am jealous. I am jealous. 71. You're online in a chat and stuff like that. Well, you're fucking sharp for 71. A lot of 70-year-olds wouldn't even know how to use a Sky remote. The thing is, most abusers are people you think you can trust, friends. Yeah, that's my experience. You get fucked up the most by the people you let in, like, to the deepest levels, you know? You know, like, I trust you with everything, like, and they're like, yes, I'm in. I'm inside him now. I can really do some damage. Like, they're fucking horrible cunts, man, like. Now, don't get me wrong, a lot of it, I've also experienced a lot of it that's not intentional. I've experienced a lot of it that is, like, they do care about you and they do love you and they, like, you know, they respect you and shit, but they actually don't love themselves or respect themselves, and they're dealing with a lot of crap, and they're just, like, they're just venting at you, and you're just there, and they're just being shitty to you because they're being shitty to themselves. And they're being shitty to everybody else as well, you know. Those people I have compassion for, but you should get them out of your life because they're just gonna crabs in a bucket. They're just gonna pull you down. And I've had to do that. I've had to just be like, nah, not anymore. Fuck this, like. But there's a big difference. There's a big difference between someone like intentionally, malevolently manipulating and like fucking with you and lying to you and all this shit, and someone just going through their own journey and you're in their vicinity, you know, or they're in your vicinity, and the relationship just becomes like abrasive and toxic. Because especially if like in my case, like I wanted to grow up, I wanted to progress, I wanted to like grow and like learn and move and do things, and it felt like they didn't. They wanted to just be and just do the same thing forever, Peter Pan style, like, you know. I couldn't take it anymore. I'm bleeding 50. Hey, you look 50. That's why I fear humans. I thought I could trust those people and they hurt me so badly. Yeah, but trust me, there's a lot of us out here that are like the same. The bear community's full of people who like are solid as fuck. Like I felt more love, trust, loyalty and admiration from people I know off the internet who I've only met a handful of times in real life. These guys showed up on my birthday last year, like as a surprise, you know. No, granted, they only live in England, so it's not like a major thing, but like to me it was a major thing, you know. They took the time and effort to come over from England and surprise me on my 32nd birthday. And my missus and them, like, they all planned the whole thing. I cried. It was intense, you know. Just like, you know, it can produce suicidal thoughts when you're in a really low place in life. When you get to a different place in life and something like that happens where like people who really love and respect and care about you and want to see the best for you do something like that for you, man, it's like a humbling as fuck experience. And like for me personally, it motivated me. I was like, I am now obligated to be the best version of me that I can, because these fuckers like care about me, you know. It's like, it's an incredible experience, like, you know. And it can happen for anyone. You just need to start like having a bit of faith and like, you know, do the work, you know, do the shadow work, fix yourself, you know. Even if you have to remove yourself from everybody for a bit and do the whole solitary confinement thing, which I did, like a monk, you know. But then like once you're like starting to make a bit of progress with yourself and all, just like dive right back in, you know, and like learn and grow and find your strengths, find your weaknesses, you know. Play it like life is a game. Play it like a game. You know, if you've only got if you've got 7 strength and you've only got 3 intellect, use the strength to your advantage. If you've got 7 intellect and only 3 strength, use the intellect to your advantage. You know, use the intellect to learn how to be stronger. Use the strength to learn how to be smarter. You know, like, use your gifts to your advantage and use your curses or your weaknesses, your vulnerabilities to your advantage as well. Like, put your vulnerabilities out there, and when people fucking hit it, because they will, it can teach you a lot about yourself, you know. So don't be afraid to get like hurt, you know. Don't get me wrong, I mean, like, I wasn't afraid to get hurt at all. I put myself out there. I was always very eccentric. I was always like really fun loving and out there and blah blah. I got worn down after a while, and then I had to like rebuild myself a bit, like, and come back, like. And I know it's more difficult for other people who are like, you know, weaker spiritually or weaker mentally or weaker emotionally or like weaker physically. Do you know what I mean? But like, you could look at someone like me and be like, oh, I don't know, like, you know, must be nice to be like confident and have friends and blah blah blah. Shut the fuck up, like, do you know what I mean? Just because you look at somebody like me who is in a place now and was in a place before doesn't mean that you can't like end up fucking leaps and bounds better than me. All it is potential, you know. Just the number one thing is to be honest with yourself. That's the number one thing, is to just be fucking honest with yourself. If you're not honest with yourself, then how could you ever be honest or, like, you know, authentic or genuine with the people around you if you're not even honest with yourself, you know? And being honest with yourself can be brutal. It can be really brutal. I plan to do that with weed, you lucky bitch. Where do you live? California or some shit? You can grow it in your back garden. I like being crazy. Me too, nigga. Me too. Well, yeah, and I'm physically attractive, so women are just mean to me because, oh yeah, I mean, like, that sucks, yeah. Just fucking bitches being bitches. Like, she's pretty. Fucking hate her. Like, it's so funny how that's a thing, because, like, I see other dudes who are, like, you know, jacked or huge or, like, really good at art, and I'm like, oh man, I gotta do better. And then, like, it's the total opposite for women. I must kill her. Like, she's getting in the way of my dominance just by being her. Like, it's fucking... But it is. It makes sense. It's competition. You know, it's competition. It's funny, though. Like, I tried to dry the leaves in my brother's woodwork shed. They got covered in MDF dust. Instant cancer. Oh my god, that's horrible. Jesus Christ. You need to be careful with that shit, man. Oh my god, like, I was lovely when I was young, but not much now. And like, oh, fucking, don't be too harsh on yourself. Just like, look at yourself in the mirror and be like, oh, I was so pretty. Like, you'll the energy within expresses itself on the outside, you know? So, like, you'll probably look more like your old self if you start thinking and feeling like your old self. Now, the kicker is you don't, because you're 70, obviously, right? So, like, you're tired, like, shit is, like, run down, your skin's not the same, like, yeah, there's all these things. But, like, if you can... A placebo is a very powerful thing. That's why faith and belief are so powerful, like, do you know what I mean? So, like, if you just, like, brainwash yourself in a positive way, you know, you mold your mind into this, like, you know, no, I'm not saying this, like, you might not want this, but, like, I'm just, you know, speaking abstractly and trying to be encouraging. I'm just saying, like, feel sexy, think you're sexy, you know, and you're like, I can't be sexy when you're 70. Says who? You know, I'm sure there's a 70-year-old guy, like, I'm sure there's a man your age in your life that finds you attractive. Do you know what I mean? Like, obviously I don't know because I haven't gotten old yet, but, like, I'd like to think that when I get old I'll still be very, like, you know, sexually active. Like, do you know what I mean? I am kind of like probably going to be one of those old dudes. Like I said it to the missus time and time again. It's like I don't need no fucking pill. No, like I'm gonna be 70. I'm still gonna be riding this horse. Like, it's an attitude. It's a mindset. You know, and maybe that's what makes me a bit like autistic or something, or a bit strange, is the fact that I'm like, I just don't have that like don't get me wrong, I have quit in me. I've quit things before. I've been like, oh, I'm done. I've had enough. But when it comes to like certain things, I'm like, no, never. You know, I'll never stop. And I think you're supposed to be like that with certain things. You know, I think you're supposed to have just this like infinitely burning light within you that like only goes when it's meant to go. You know, and even then, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop burning. It just changes location. Um, don't let the age fool you. I was camping this past weekend. I was kayaking. Yeah, fucking right. Totally. Of course, I'm paying for it now. To pain. like, like joints and your muscles and shit are like killing you and stuff. And you're like gripping a shaft for a long period of time can really do a number on the old knuckles. Fucking like, my back is broken, so kayaking I use my arms and like, you're like, it's actually broken, or it's like just, you know, a bit broken. Get some yoga into you, you'd be grand. But I can't restart this game. Well, yeah, like, you know, obviously you can't restart the game because you can't, like, you know, like, I'm gonna want to start again, I'm gonna be a baby or whatever, like. But in a lot of ways you can, you know. I mean, look at other people, like, you know, you can start again in a lot of ways. But it's also, I mean, is the mentality of wanting to start again good? You know? Like, things do die and then things are born again and so on and so forth. There's cycles to things and shit. But, like, if you find yourself in a place with regret and, like, you know, you're like, oh, I wish I could start over. It's like, yeah, but if you started over because of how starting over works, you wouldn't have your memories and you wouldn't have all of this shit. So like, you can't start over. Like, do you know what I mean? So like that's the whole point of this game. Is that, like, no? Don't get me wrong. If you want to get really spiritual and deep and woo woo about shit, like, I think there's ways of when you die, you can retain your memory. But like, obviously, like, I don't know how it works. But like, I just have a feeling. I have a feeling. I have a feeling death is an experience just like every other experience in our existence. I think death is an experience that is extremely subjective and personal. I think there's people who die screaming in pain and agony, and then they end up in like what we would perceive as like hell. You know, burning for eternity, being, you know, tortured by things and all. Like, I think people who die peacefully would probably end up like it. I think it depends on your vibration at that time. It depends on your state, your vibratory state at that time, your mental state and spiritual state, like, you know, your emotional state. Like, if you're lying there surrounded by your loved ones and you're like, oh, I can't wait to see mum and dad again, and then you just drift off, the first thing you probably see when you open your eyes, in quotes, like, you know, when you see a flash of light or whatever, like, you know, fucking, or if you start dreaming and it's like, is this a dream? Am I dead? Or like, you'll probably see your parents like in the first couple of seconds, because that's what you were thinking when you passed. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I think dying is just a transition. I don't think you die and then that's it. Like, do you know what I mean? I think you die and like your soul moves to a different phase of existence, and I think that can be like, there can be lots of different things. You know, there's all sorts of like shit in all the different religions and cultures of like the process of death and how many different stages there are to death, and like what death is and how it's experienced and the purpose of death, and like, so you can be reborn and all this fucking shit. Like, and like, I wouldn't be surprised if the reason why there's like certain people in the world who have amassed like all this, like, you know, wealth and resources and control and power and stuff, like, I wouldn't be surprised if it's like well, I'm on my 10th life now, you know, and there's the whole idea of samsara, which is like just fucking like suffering again and again. Like, you know, it's like, what if you do get to do a new game plus, but there's certain things you have to do in order to get to that stage, you know? Because that would explain why a lot of stuff is hidden, you know? That would explain why knowledge is like power and stuff like that. Well, it's like, there's probably a group of people sitting around a fucking, you know, really swanky hotel dining fucking... You always just imagine these guys, these like elites or whatever. It's like really nice soup in an empty, what would you call it? Like a fucking like restaurant, like really really swanky restaurant. Like, you know, nobody but the two of them there. They're just having a talk, and they're talking about like esoteric, spiritual, demon level, you know, past present shit. But they're sitting there with like really nice watches and like eating caviar and drinking like insanely expensive champagne, and you know, but it's just the two of them there. And you look at that scene and you're like, all of that opulence, all of that wealth, all that money, all of that attention to detail, all of that hard work, just so two of these people can be in this huge room with all these tables and stuff. It's like, I see that a lot where like there's this weird juxtaposition where we all think that, like, you know, when you get to a certain level, things look and feel a certain way. Like, if anything, I think that like explains a lot where like you would have like, when you get that high up, there's probably only a few of them, you know, and you probably would feel or act like kind of vampiric, you know. Talk to someone who like just feels and looks like they're 1,000 years old and has all of this experience and knowledge and this like way of looking at things and shit. Like, I could totally see that being a thing. Hold on, I'm gonna put more tunes on, and I'm gonna go for another while because the female's in late today, and I'm not finished this painting goo. Well, I'm obviously not gonna finish it, but like, I'll be here all day.
Enjoy
Shut up. Fucking ads. Right. What am I in the mood for? We were very synthy today as per usual, so... Oh, do you know what? That's what I'll stick on. Stick on the old stuff. Good old reliable. Reliable. Ugh. 2 ads. You fucking kidding me? Just because you age doesn't mean you're not beautiful. Man, like, yeah, like, I've seen... Like, don't get me wrong, your typical old woman's not very attractive. But, like, I've seen women in their, like, late stages of age and they're, like, attractive. You know? Still have good posture. Still have great skin. Still have that, like, glint in their eye that they're, like, awake and aware. You know? And they have, like, really long, really thick, full, white or grey hair, you know? It's not just men that age well. I think it's just harder. I think it's probably harder for women to age well. For various reasons. You know, they give birth and stuff, so their body goes through a lot more. But it doesn't mean it's not possible, like. Ah, I remember you. Welcome. Indeed, 111 subs, slowly but surely. I am deterred. Which reminds me, I still have to do the Tactical Turtle t-shirt. I know. I'm a slow fuck. I had a bitch fit, okay? Kind of set me back a few weeks. That's what happens when you rage out and destroy, like, 2 paintings. Fuck was I thinking? Oh god. Wouldn't be me. I hope I'm reborn as a hummingbird. Hummingbirds are fucking awesome. They really are. Hummingbirds are class. So I can enjoy the flowers. You'd be helping pollinate them as well, wouldn't you? Isn't that what hummingbirds do? Do they eat the pollen, or do they like move it around like bees do? Broken. Doctor did surgery, pinched my spine, went back in to take some of the metal out and took 3 inches off and made me worse. Holy shit! You see why I don't trust hospitals? Fucking hell, like. I've had 2 hernia surgeries. And let me tell you, like, fucking hell. Keep yourself fit and healthy so you don't have to go to hospital. Because them fuckers don't give a bollocks. Why does earwax taste so bitter, but snots taste lovely? I don't know. I don't think I'll ever know. I'm trying to use my memory banks here. Like, I would guess it's because they're made up of different materials. But like, oh god. It's like something Father Dougal would say out of nowhere in Father Ted, like. Father Ted, do you ever wonder why earwax is so bitter, but snot is delicious? Dougal, no, I haven't. If you don't know what Father Ted is, you're committing blasphemy. Go rectify that immediately. Painting goo goo. Goo 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 goo. Painting goo goo. Goo 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 goo. I have 3 children. My daughter's 53, a son 50, and a son 48. 8 grandchildren and 5 great grandchildren. Yeah, fucking animal, you. What a legend. El fucking Margie is a fucking crusher and a half. You know, it's funny, like, I've thought about being a parent, and it, like, you know, produces the usual, like, anxiety of, like, oh god, like, don't know if I'm ready to be a father, like. But I've thought about being a grandfather, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be deadly. Like, because, like, when I think about it, I'm always just thinking about, like, you know, you only have to look after the kids every so often. So you get to, like, enjoy them because they're kids and stuff, but you don't have to, like, take care of them all the time, like. And you get to witness, like, your kids going through what you went through and shit, like. It's cool, like, you know, and then a lot of the time you just, like, sit in a chair and watch telly and stuff. I have a feeling I'm gonna really enjoy getting old. But, like, I don't know, I probably will, like, get a bit melancholy. Just a little bit when I'm on, like, death's door when I'm like when it's obvious I only have like a couple of days left or something, I'll probably get a bit melancholy because I'd be like, oh, like I'm probably really gonna miss this place, like, you know. But then the other part of me is gonna be like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Because nobody knows. Like, well, I always say it's like somebody somewhere knows, but most people don't know. Everybody has their beliefs and their opinions and science. Painting goo 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 goo. Put a tiny bit of orange in this. Painting goo 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 goo. Oh, glorious! After I had breast cancer, the reconstruction surgery left me with a hernia. Oh, Jesus. They really did a number on you, didn't they? Fucking hell. When I had a hernia surgery a couple of years ago, and fuckers like gave me shit for being jacked, basically. Like they, whatever way they did the stitches, they were like poking out, and they like well, not, yeah, like fucking, I say stitches, like the metal sewing that they did on me or whatever, like to hold my abdominal fascia together so it didn't come out again. It was like poking through my skin and stuff. It was really uncomfortable. So I went back in to sort it out, and they were like, "Oh, this doesn't usually happen because we our patients usually have more fat on them," and I'm just like, what? Like, so you're saying this is only a problem because I'm like I have a six-pack? Like, trying to make this my fault, like, for not being a fat cunt? Like, fuck's sake, like. Not to mention the fact that they cut me open in just a room that wasn't sterilized, and while they were cutting me open and manipulating it and snipping it off, they were talking to each other, being like, "This shouldn't have been done or this should have been done in major surgery or something." So, and now that I think of it, I don't know if she was saying that what she was doing should have been done the first time round, or if she was saying what they were doing at that moment shouldn't have been done in the room they were doing it in. It should have been, because that's what I assumed at the time. I was like, well, why are you doing it then? You know, if you shouldn't be doing it here, then why are you doing it here? And then the assumption that I came to was like, you know, there probably isn't another room available at the time, because that was the thing that was going on. There was no beds, there was no rooms. It was all like, it's mad, like. Yes, I'm the one that's been there, done that. Well, if you made it to 70 and you can't say I've been there, done that, you've done fuck all. Hard to watch. I see my niece going through her shit. It's difficult to watch her struggle. It can be hard to watch people you love struggle. And of course, help them if you can in certain ways, but like, be careful not to give them too much support, because the struggle will make them stronger, you know? If they start sinking, you know, like, be like, ugh. I can't do anything because I'm poor as shit. That's not necessarily the case. You can do stuff that is far more valuable than money, you know? Ooh, double breast cancer? Jesus. Yeah, Margie's a fucking crusher. She still has to take meds. Oh man, watching my granddad get Parkinson's and then they put him on a load of meds. And then he started getting these growths on him and then ended up in a wheelchair and then... Ugh. It was horrible. It was horrible. And I was the one sitting there being like, it doesn't have to be like this. We could try other forms of medicine. Like, I could order some shit off the net. And like, I've seen videos, man. Like, Parkinson's isn't the end. You can cure Parkinson's. Like, come on, like let's try something. Like, you know, nobody wanted to listen. Nobody fucking. And maybe I should have just taken it upon myself, like, and got someone, drop some in his tea or something. Like, I don't know. Like, but it probably like. He was still taking all the other meds, you know, so I don't know. It was fucking tragic. Yeah. Watching someone who, like, you know, was tall, strong, you know, hard worker, just like slowly, you know, reduced to this feeble, wheelchair-ridden, barely able to talk. It's horrible, man. Sitting at the dinner table looking across at him, like, and he'd be like, you know, what do you think, Granda? He'd be like, like, you know, and he was just like, yeah. Like, it was brutal, man. It's fucking brutal. Nobody deserves to go out like that, you know. Well, I'm sure someone deserves to go out like that, because that's a horrible way to go out, you know. But like, my granddad doesn't deserve to go out like that, as far as I'm aware anyway. Maybe he did some shit that I'm not aware of, you know. But like, from my perspective, my grandfather didn't deserve to go out like that. Like, not at all. It's tragic.
I demand to know what's going on in my house.
In debt because I tried to save my cat. Oh my god, did veterinary bills leave you in debt? Oh, that's horrible. Fuck the cat. Turn it into a fucking, like, kettle warmer or something, like a tea cozy. Like, should fucking get another cat, like, Jesus. Seems like every doctor that touches me turns out bad. Yeah, I haven't had exactly the same experience, but very similar. I haven't had good experiences with mainstream medicine. Not at all. Like, I've had great success, from what I can tell anyway, with my health, with just regular vigorous exercise, stuff like Tai Chi and Qigong, isometrics. You're just like holding poses for long periods of time. Increase your tendon strength, increase your muscle density and strength. That all increases healthy blood flow. Drink plenty of water. You know, don't stay away from sugar as much as possible. You know, like, a change of diet and a change of behavior will, like, completely change your life, which kind of makes sense when you think about it. Like, I'm sorry for your daughter too. Cancer is a bitch. Yes, it is, Macy. And that cancer is a real bitch. Yes, it is. Ah, yeah, it's in the past, like, you know. I don't even know how long ago he was now. My grandfather went out like that, and then not too long, like 2 or 3 years later, my grandmother passed. I think she had pneumonia, and she didn't want to be here anymore. When my grandfather died, she was inconsolable. Completely inconsolable, like, and then alone, you know. All she had was the dog, and the dog was called Faith. So funny. But like me, like, loneliness and like, similar to the whole, like, if you're angry all the time, if you're sad all the time, there's a difference between being physically on your own and being lonely. Lonely is a state of mind, you know. And loneliness can kill you. It can fucking kill you. And it killed me grandmother. My grandfather fell to Parkinson's, and, well, if I'm gonna be like completely, you know, 100% genuine, then like in my opinion, what killed my grandfather was a diagnosis and then drugs. Like, you know, that's what I think killed him. Was the fucking meds, like. Yeah, negative thoughts produce negative signals, which produce negative, like, you know, well, not necessarily negative, like, your thoughts are very powerful. So if you have negative thoughts and like self-destructive thoughts, you can literally like rot from the inside out just by thinking a lot of bad shit all the time. Get some orange in here. Just a tad. Oh, glorious. Remember, if you are enjoying Painting Goo, consider paying for Painting Goo. If you have any honor, click the link in the description. There's actually loads of them. There's loads of links in the description. Whew! Wait for that. Painting Goo, Painting Goo, Painting Goo, Painting Goo. It's a bit too orange. Yeah. It's a bit too orange. Yeah, the way you move when you're uncomfortable versus confident is very different. That's so true, yeah. Very true. A lot of, like, body language is a thing, but I get why they don't use it in court. Because it can be very nuanced and subjective to the person. But typically, one can discern a lot about how somebody moves. Typically. Yeah, I've done that shit where you can reset your nervous system. Your vagus nerve travels all the way up your body and hits like every major organ and shit. And deep breathing with the diaphragm and like mindful breathing and stuff like that can allow you to like a lot of that stuff sounds woo-woo, but it's like totally real, and it totally works. Like, it's like anything. It's like, I describe it as like learning how to do this, you know? Like, it seems simple, but there's people who can't do that, you know? I thought that was crazy. I used to go up to people and go, live long and prosper. And they're like, how do you do that with your fingers? The mind-body connection, the mind-muscle connection is a real thing. And you need to train it. But you can train it to such a point. Like that Wim Hof guy who can like survive in cold and shit and all, like, he's in control. That's all it is. He's actually in control, you know? That's all it really is. Most of us aren't in control. We're being influenced. We're being manipulated. And we don't even fucking know it, like. And then there's those of us who know it, but like, you know, because of victim consciousness and lack of confidence and all that shit, like, you know, it's difficult. Because you don't think you can do it. You don't think you can change. You don't know if you even want to change. But that's why being honest with yourself is so important. Ask yourself those questions. Listen to what comes back. Discern, you know. Is that voice in your head you? Or is it something else? Quite often it's both. I've said on this stream many a time before that, like, I feel like I am a multitude, you know. I am not like one thing. And when you think about it, like, none of us are. Like, you're not just you. You is the combination of many things, you know. Paintingu. 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 I can't chew gum because I have false teeth. You gotta get that fucking... Gotta get that denture glue shit, like. Get some of that fucking liquid cement going on, like. It does, that's why it affects digestion, because it stretches along the entire body. Yeah. So some of the anatomy stuff would have been real handy to be taught when we were at school, like, you know. This is how a plant works. Why we learn about plants? We learn about our bodies. Like, what the fuck? Like, now don't get me wrong, I don't think sex education should be a thing in school. But we should totally, like, be taught, like, you know, these are your adrenal glands when you get scared, or when you get, like, you know, this is why your heart rate goes up. Fucking, this is, like, that, all of that would have been incredibly useful as a child. You know? I have missing teeth, so it's hard for me to chew gum too. I'm missing a few teeth. I'm missing like 4 or 5, but they're all, thankfully, they're all back here. I say thank you know, I still have a smile. Like, but I got chipped. Front one got chipped. I got that fixed. And then it was my own fault, really, that, like, or one there, gone. Yeah, one there, and then one at the back. So I've had a wisdom tooth taken out. I've had a molar, like, taken out here. I had a wisdom tooth taken at the back here. And then I had a molar taken out here. I still have my bottom 2 wisdom teeth, but they're in a decayed state. But I haven't had the money to, like, you know, fucking dentists are expensive, man. I was neglected, so I wanted attention from her because I liked the teacher. That's hilarious. I wanted her to be my mom. I had a hilarious, like, crush / like, maternal attraction to my second class teacher in primary school, because she was just really nice to me. I remember bringing her in a card and a fucking tube of Pringles, and I was like, "These are for you." And she was like, "Aww, thank you." No, like, give me a hug. And I remember when she hugged me, I was like, "Oh my god." Like, I could have stayed there for, like, the whole day. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I loved her. I was mad about her, like, because she was just nice to me, like, you know. She didn't, I had a few teachers that, like, found me annoying because I was loud, undisciplined, and, like, clownish, and hard to control sometimes, you know, because it was funny. But then I had other teachers that, like, could see that, like they'd look at me and be like, "Ah, he means no harm." Do you know what I mean? Like it's good that he's like that. He's confident, he's creative, you know, like, just let him be. And then there was other ones that were like, "Shut up! I'm trying to teach. It's kind of like, okay. The other got shoved up in my gums when I was a kid. Oh, that happened to my sister. She had her soother in her mouth, and she fell on the tile floor, and it rammed her your two front teeth right up into her gums. But thankfully they came back down. They were fucking grey. They went grey, and they still like survived. It's mad. Paint. I was considered a burden. Ah, that's horrible. That's mad. Some parents, like some people, like obviously it's cool that they had you because you're here, you know, and you get to like exist and shit. But like there isn't like, I think there's an argument that like there should be people who aren't allowed to have children. Because like having a child is not just like, it's not a, what's the word I'm looking for? Having a child is not an insignificant thing. Having a child is a significant thing. And it's like a duty. And it's a very important, if not one of the most important things in existence, is children and having a child. But because of what's entailed in having a child, there are people who behave in ways so unbecoming that I would say that like it would probably be the logical thing to do. I don't know how you do it though, because I don't think a license would be a good idea. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, because then you have to apply a license, and then like how is that regulated, and like who comes up with the rules and all this shit. Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, it's a hard one. I don't know enough about that aspect of life and how things work to be able to come up with an idea or whatever. Like, but I would argue that there are some people who shouldn't be allowed breed. Like, in my humble opinion. I grew up in a bubble. I was so taken care of, best parents and brother. That's nice. And look how you ended up. You've got great grandkids and all. Like, you know, like that's how it works. You know, if you like properly take care of a plant, it will turn into an awesome tree or bush or whatever. Like, you know, you fucking feed that thing poison and stand all over it and roar and scream and bitch at it at all the time. Like, you know, it's not gonna work. I had a gum graft 2 years back. Most painful thing I've ever experienced. Ooh. Why did you have to get that? A gum graft? So they surgically removed some of your gum and like moved it somewhere else. Ooh. I remember a friend of mine, his stepfather had a surgery where they removed one of his vertebrae and put in a fake one. And when he was explaining to me how they did it and all, the way they had him lying down on the bed and they had to like fix his head in position and stuff, like, and they like, you know, they like, you know, had him on one of those turntable things so they could like keep him really fixed, but then like turn him over so they had access to the back of his neck. And they literally just like cut the back of his neck open, removed everything that they needed to remove, and then just slid out one of his vertebrae, like just like, you know, and it's like, and they just put a fake one in. I was like, that's wild. Like, but he was fine after that. Like, that's what's really annoying to me sometimes, is like it can be so hit or miss. Like, you hear about the most miraculous things where like people get like an insane surgery done to them. Like, there's this guy who runs a YouTube channel, I can't fucking remember the name of it, but it's about guns, right? It's a gun channel. Can't remember the name. And a 50 caliber sniper rifle, a really big fucking gun, exploded as this guy shot it years ago, and it like severed his fucking carotid artery or something, and like tore a hole in his neck, and fucking like dislocated his shoulder and shit, like fucked him up, like, right? And they got him to hospital, and they did like fucking 3 or 4 surgeries on him, and he's fine now. And like a few weeks after like that intense injury, he was like bench pressing like fucking 200 pounds or something, like, do you know, like sometimes, like, if you go to the right place and if you have the money, they can work fucking miracles. They do some crazy shit, and like you're just left with like a cool looking scar, and it's like nothing happened. Kentucky Ballistics, that's the one. Kentucky Ballistics. I love that nigga. He's brilliant, really funny, really good channel. Yeah, good woman, Macy. Yeah, he's fucking hilarious, and the stuff he does is awesome. It's really cool. The punt gun one was insane. Yeah, I love watching things grow. Yeah, like, I haven't gotten around to it again, like I said. I probably would start with tomatoes and potatoes or something, like. If you need a graft, tell them to get a pig. Yeah. You ain't fucking slicing no shit off me. Painting. Hold on, I'm just texting the female back. Oh, glorious. Have I any sip left? Yes, I do. Thank you. Okay. We got a sandy beach. We have our rock formations. Using frames again? Oh, there we go. Yeah, I'll turn them into like proper like curling waves. We have our cliff thing here, and I'll just do the shipwreck like here, as if it's like, you know, come in from this direction and just like boom and just landed right here. Like, we'll do a cool shipwreck here. But first things first. Let's see if I can. The brown. Combine this with the yellow. Okay, so lighter up here. And we get like the hard edge hitting the light there. And bring this down. Something to darken this a bit. Get a bit of red in there. Just a tad. Smidge. Had gum recession, so they peeled skin off the roof of my mouth to build up the area around the bottom incisors. Oh, recession. Took about a year to heal proper. Jesus! And like, did you have like a speech impediment like while you were healing? Like, like, it sounds horrible. Yeah, Kentucky Ballistics is fucking brilliant. He is. Yeah, stick a thumb in it. Yeah, like that. Yeah, that's what he did. He fucking He stopped himself from bleeding out by just jamming his thumb in his neck. Just be like, oh, like, what a fucking hero, like, you know, that you can tell, like, he obviously, he was in the military, wasn't he? Has military experience. Because, like, your average person would just panic. You'd just panic, like. You'd be like, oh my god, I'm so fucking dead, like. Has anyone ever, only, like, it's fairly recent that I spoke about this. Has anyone ever had a dream where you die in the dream? Or you think you're like, you almost, like, assuredly think that you're gonna die in the dream? I had a dream where I got shot in the neck. Shot in the neck! It's a very Irish thing. Ever been shot in the neck? Fucking hurts. No, yeah. That's not doing what I wanted to. Maybe I should have gone with blue. I'm trying to not use black to darken because I'm practicing color theory and shit. So get some ultramarine in there. That'll darken this bitch up. Painting. Well, I suppose I could use that. I mean, like, no, too bright. It's too rich. Ride the lightning with some mossy bits. Painting Goo Goo. Yeah, he is really lucky to be alive. Ah, somebody has a paid for painting goo. Glorious. Stabaro, keep gooing. Never stop, never stopping. What's that out of again? Domo arigato for your patronage to painting goo. The Kentucky Ballistics YouTube channel host Scott DeShields is a former Kentucky State Trooper with a big appetite for anything firepower. I love his fucking laugh, such a big kid. Yeah, it's brilliant. He rolled his thumb up in his short and stuck it in the hole in his neck. If his camera buddy hadn't been there, he would probably end it different. Yeah, he probably would have just bled out, yeah. What a fucking hero, like. Okay, I'm after using way too much. That's the problem. I use too much. Only needed a little bit. I often forget how powerful the the pigments in the gouache is. I only need a tiny bit. A lot of the time you only need a tiny bit to get the effect you want. Painting. 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 Oh yes, there we go. Beautiful. Perfect. Painting. Painting. And that grey poop on. I got poop on everything. I don't think I've watched enough of his stuff to know that reference. I've literally only watched like 6 of his episodes. I only found him like last year. It's hilariously entertaining. Yeah, he just shoots fucking shit big guns. It's awesome. The grey poop on. That's hilarious. It was his dad who was his camera buddy. Imagine that, driving your son to the hospital with his thumb in his neck. Yeah, like, fucking, just imagine, like, the amount of times you've shot a gun, and then, like, you go to shoot a gun one day, and, like, sure, it's a 50 and stuff like that, like, but, like, none of you think that that's gonna happen, and then, boom, it just explodes, and, like, the dude's neck has got a massive hole in it, like, panic-inducing. Oh, you got a crush on him? That's hilarious. He's a thick boy. He's a thick country boy. Painting, goo, 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 goo. Painting, goo goo. Painting, goo goo. Good old AK Jesus. That's what he calls Brandon Herrera. AK Jesus. Oh God. Get some greenery up here. Just real quick. Turn on the machine. Turn on the machine. Painting, goo, 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 goo. Painting, goo, 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 goo. Ooh. Right. my beloved Japanites, and all you other filthy mortals. Ah, Twakeru, you are very Rachel. How dare you? Okay, ladies, gentlemen, niggers, niggerettes. This concludes today's episode of Paintingu. I hope you enjoyed Ingu. I know I did. If you have any honor and you have enjoyed Paintingu, then pay for Paintingu. Click the link in the description. I shall return. Same timer, same placer, same high octane Paintingu energy. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. GMTU. Hi. If you have any honor, you shall be there. If you do not pay for Paintingu, like and subscribe to Paintingu and share our Paintingu, you have no honor, and your ancestors shall look upon you with great shame, and you will be sad. Hi. Right, my beloved Japanites, and all you other filthy mortals. Sayonara! In the meantime, be good, be true, and be beautiful, and I shall see you tomorrow. Painting goo, painting goo.